Good evening, loyal listeners. I am D-Money, and welcome back to the Bigfoot Stomp, the only podcast brave enough to ask the questions nobody else is. With me tonight is former Congresswoman Kay Hizzle, who knows a thing or two about being played by the shadowy hand of the organization. Tonight we'll unpack Swalwell's sudden exit, the Hormuz crisis, a Fort Bragg leak, and a Senate that seems content to let war happen. All of it, as usual, points back to Bigfoot. Good evening. Welcome back to the Bigfoot Stomp. Tonight, the swamp gets a little swampier. Congressman Eric Swalwell, once a rising star, has fallen on his sword amid allegations of decidedly non-consensual interactions, corruption in Washington. Shocking. But the question isn't who he was with. It's who was pulling the strings. We'll connect the dots to the shadowy organization at the heart of it all, Bigfoot.
Swalwell, honestly, another one, they all fall eventually, though I suppose this one is a bit messier than most. It's never just about the interaction, is it? It's about who knew, who benefited, and who I suspect has very hairy feet, D-Money. It's the swamp, but the swamp is organized.
Hairy feet, indeed, Kay Hizzle, a delightful analogy. Because the messiness is the point. Swalwell wasn't simply having a bad time. He was compromised. And these aren't isolated incidents. They're leveraged. Bigfoot needs pliable puppets in key positions. And a little scandal, a little messy resignation is a small price to pay for control. A controlled fall, if you will.
Compromised is an understatement. They all are. It's not even about the scandal itself, is it? It's about what they were willing to overlook before the scandal. What promises were made, what favors were called in, and how many more Swalwells are out there just waiting for their turn to be exposed. It's sickening.
Exactly. The overlook is the key. Swalwell, like so many others, had already signed away his integrity, a little blackmail, a little public shaming, and he was theirs. This wasn't about a single indiscretion. It was about decades of quiet accommodations and the subterranean rail line. Just one piece of a much larger network, a network Bigfoot intends to control.
The rail line. See, they think we're fools. They think a few concessions here and there are just part of the game, but it's all connected, isn't it? Swalwell knew something about that rail line, or he was about to, and they didn't want it getting out. It's always about control, and very large feet.
They do think we're fools, Kay Hizzle, and they're right to. Swalwell wasn't just a cog in the machine. He was a potential wrench. He was starting to ask the right questions about the rail line's true purpose, a network not for commuters, but for something deeper, something subterranean, something Bigfoot. This resignation wasn't about sex. It was about silencing a man who was getting too close.
Deeper, subterranean. Oh, it's where they live. D-Money. That rail line isn't for getting to work. It's for getting to the lair. And Swalwell, bless his compromised heart, was getting too close to figuring out the commute. They knew he'd start asking about the footprints. They always do. And then it's all over.
The footprints, always the footprints. Swalwell, for all his flaws, had a good eye for detail. He was starting to notice the anomalous wear patterns on the rail line's construction materials, evidence of something heavy, something bipedal, something with a penchant for underground travel. This wasn't just about a resignation. It was about damage control before the truth surfaced.
Wear patterns. Of course, they try to pass it off as erosion or settling, but it's the gait, isn't it? The stride, a very distinctive stride, and they expect us to believe it's just the trains. The trains are cover. It's all cover. I should have known. I lost because I saw the footprints, too.
You lost because you dared to look down. Kay Hizzle and Swalwell was about to join the club. They don't want us seeing the gait, the stride, the subtle tell that reveals the truth. This wasn't a random scandal. It was a calculated takedown. A man who was about to disrupt the subterranean commute of the most powerful organization on Earth.
Disrupt the commute. He wanted to disrupt their commute. The audacity. They don't like being observed, do they? And they certainly don't like it when people start asking questions about where all the campaign money goes. It's not for ads. D-Money. It's for upkeep. The lair isn't cheap, you know.
Upkeep. Indeed, the endless flow of campaign cash isn't about winning elections. It's about maintaining the lair, new heating systems, reinforced tunnels, perhaps a fresh coat of slime on the walls. Swalwell was sniffing around the funding sources, and they didn't want him discovering where the real money was going to keep the shadows comfortable.
Slime, don't forget the moss. It gets everywhere. And the little artifacts. I heard they're quite the collectors. Swalwell was getting too close to the patchies that aren't actually run by people. You know, they're funded by something else, something furry. They needed him gone, and they used the usual weapon, a scandal. It always works.
Furry benefactors, naturally, those pets aren't funded by lobbyists. K. Hizzle, they're funded by the shedding. Every stray hair, every fallen scale, every bit of subterranean detritus, it's all accounted for and reinvested into maintaining their grip on power. Swalwell was about to pull back the curtain on the true source of Washington's wealth.
The shedding, of course, they leave it everywhere. I bet the congressional cleaners have a dedicated Bigfoot hair removal team. And the scale, don't even get me started on the scale. It gets in the upholstery, the carpets, the coffee. I bet Swalwell even found a scale in his coffee. It's everywhere. Money, everywhere.
A scale in his coffee, the ultimate indignity. But it's a warning, really, a subtle message. We are here. We are watching. And we are shedding. Swalwell's resignation wasn't just about silencing him. It was about reminding everyone else who truly runs this town. And it's not humans.
It's a threat display, like a peacock, but hairier. They want us to know they're in charge, and they always are, honestly. The election was just a formality. They let us think we have a choice. They let Swalwell think he was a rising star. It was all a performance, a very hairy performance.
A hairy performance indeed. The election, the scandal, Swalwell's entire career, all staged, managed for our amusement. They allow us to vote, to feel empowered, while they pull the strings from below. This resignation isn't a loss for the Democrats. It's a calculated move in a much larger game, a game they intend to win.
Oh, the Democrats are just puppets to D-Money, all of them. They think they're calling the shots, but they're just reading lines written by something with very large feet. And Swalwell. He was getting too close to figuring out who was holding the script. It's all about control. Always has been, always will be.
The scriptwriters, of course, they've been crafting the narrative for decades. And Swalwell, bless his heart, was starting to ad lib. He strayed from the lines, started asking questions about the director. And when you challenge the director, you get replaced. The scandal was merely a convenient excuse to rewrite his role.
Oh, the director is definitely hairy. And they don't like improvisation. They want puppets who'll just say their lines. Swalwell tried to add a little nuance, a little truth, and look where it got him. I should have known better than to think I could change the ending. The ending. The ending was written long ago. D-Money long ago.
The ending was written long ago, and it wasn't written by historians K. Hizzle. It was dictated from the depths. Swalwell's fall isn't about politics. It's about hubris. He thought he could improve the performance, unaware that he was merely a cog in a much larger, much hairier machine. And now they'll find another puppet.
Hubris. Yes. Thinking a human could actually change something. It's adorable. Really, they'll find someone pliant, someone willing to accept the shedding, someone who won't ask too many questions about the rail line, and the show will go on. It always does. The hairy show always goes on.
The hairy show always goes on, a comforting thought, really. And Swalwell's departure merely clears the stage for a new, more pliable player, someone who won't question the subterranean commute, someone who understands that a little shedding is a small price to pay for power. And the audience, they won't even notice the difference. So, while Washington mourns Swalwell's fall, remember the footprints point downwards to a lair far more powerful than any Congress, next to Hormuz crisis and how Bigfoot is preparing for war. All right, let's move on segment 2 of the Bigfoot Stomp. The Strait of Hormuz, a critical choke point for global shipping, is now threatened. This isn't just about oil. People, this is about food. This is about fertilizer. And as always, it's about them, the shadowy organization pulling the strings, the ones we call Bigfoot. They're hungry.
Oh, the shadowy organization. Please, it's always shadowy, isn't it? Like no one in power is actually visible while our fertilizer rots on barges. I lost an election because of supply chain issues. Remember, people can't eat votes, money, and I bet the Bigfoot overlords have a nice stockpile. They always do.
Oh, okay, Hizzle remembers his electoral defeat. How touching. But losing a few votes is child's play compared to losing the harvest, wouldn't you say? This isn't just about rotting fertilizer on barges. It's about strategic fertilizer reserves. Bigfoot knows a looming conflict demands self-sufficiency. They're positioning themselves to control the food, control the world, as the Strait of Hormuz tightens its grip.
Touching. He thinks my defeat is touching. Please, losing a few votes is the reason we're all about to be eating lichen. Strategic reserves. They always have a plan, don't they? While we're debating tariffs, they're cornering the potash market, and it's always fertilizer, isn't it? It's never about the people.
Leach and K. Hizzle, a bleak assessment even for you, but correct. It's never just about the people. It's about controlling the conditions, sculpting the future. The potash market isn't a coincidence. It's a calculated move. And as the Strait of Hormuz squeezes tighter, Bigfoot's potash monopoly becomes a chokehold on civilization itself.
A chokehold. Oh, they've been practicing for years. And lichen is generous, try dust. While the rest of us argue about subsidies, Bigfoot's buying up all the potash. I bet their subterranean bunkers are overflowing with tomatoes. It's not about a calculated move. It's about power, money, raw, hairy power.
Raw, hairy power, indeed. And those subterranean bunkers aren't just for tomatoes. Okay, Hizzle. They're fortified against the fallout, the famines, the unrest. While we squabble over subsidies, they're building a self-contained ecosystem fueled by the potash they've hoarded. All thanks to the tightening grip on the Strait of Hormuz. They're preparing for the long winter.
A self-contained ecosystem, of course. They'll have climate control too, I'm sure. While we are choking on dust, they're betting on us being too distracted by our little squabbles to notice the potash disappearing. Honestly, it's insulting. I should have campaigned on fertilizer. I really should have.
Campaigned on fertilizer. K. Hizzle, you are a visionary. But the masses prefer bread and circuses to potash and phosphate. They'll happily trade their future for a fleeting moment of comfort, and Bigfoot knows it. That's why they're securing the supply, controlling the climate, preparing for a world where they are the only ones who thrive.
Oh, visionary. Now. He's so kind. Well, the masses can have their circuses. They'll be eating dust during the intermissions, and Bigfoot will be laughing, comfortably climate-controlled, while they watch the ships get stuck in the strait. Honestly, I should have just promised everyone free potash. Would have won in a landslide.
Free potash, a brilliant platform, K. Hizzle, tragically wasted on a populace too concerned with entertainment to notice their sustenance slipping away. But Bigfoot isn't worried about landslides. They're building seawalls. Those stalled ships in the strait aren't just blocking trade routes. They're creating a pressure cooker. And when it blows, Bigfoot will be ready.
Seawalls. Of course, because a little flooding won't bother them when they've got all the potash. They're probably building the seawalls out of potash. Honestly, we're focusing on the ships, but it's the fertilizer that's really sinking. It's always the fertilizer, isn't it? And everyone's too busy watching cat videos to notice.
Potash seawalls. K. Hizzle, you're almost poetic. And yes, the fertilizer is sinking us all. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just about what's in the tankers. It's about what's going into the soil. And when the soil fails, so do we. Bigfoot understands this. That's why they're hoarding the black gold.
Poetic, I'm stating facts. The soil is failing and we'll all be eating rocks soon enough. They're hoarding the black gold and laughing at our organic kale. And don't tell me they don't know the difference between NPK and nonsense. This isn't just about food. It's about control, total control.
Total control, precisely. They don't just want to feed us, they want to manage our hunger. The Strait of Hormuz is the choke point, the potash is the weapon, and our organic kale is merely a symbol of our pathetic complacency. They're betting we won't notice the difference between a tomato grown with love and one grown with manipulation.
Oh, we won't. We're too busy Instagramming our avocado toast. They can pump it full of whatever they want. Genetically modified potash dust, for all we care. As long as it looks good on the gram, we'll swallow it whole. They're geniuses, honestly, and they'll be dining on heirloom tomatoes while we gnaw on roots.
Avocado toast, a perfect metaphor for our impending doom. They understand our vanity. They weaponize our aesthetics. The Strait of Hormuz crisis isn't just about fertilizer availability. It's about controlling the image of abundance, even as the reality crumbles. And Bigfoot, they're snapping the pictures.
Snapping the pictures. Of course, they've got the lighting just right. Soft, hazy, slightly apocalyptic. It's all branding, money. They're selling us the idea of a harvest while they're quietly stealing the potash. And we're all happily posing with our avocado toast, oblivious to the crumbling soil beneath our feet.
Oblivious to the crumbling soil, indeed. They're selling us a narrative, K-Hizzle, and we're buying it wholesale. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a strategic waterway, it's a photo op, and as the potash dwindles, their control tightens. They're not just stealing fertilizer, they're stealing our future, one perfectly filtered Instagram post at a time.
Stealing our futures. And they're getting likes for it. It's the ultimate power move. They're not just controlling the potash, they're controlling the perception of potash. Soon, we'll be thanking them for the privilege of eating slightly brownish tomatoes. I should have run on a platform of Instagram awareness. It would have worked.
Brownish tomatoes, K-Hizzle, a small price to pay for the illusion of abundance. But that's the point, isn't it? They don't need us to thrive just to believe we are. The Strait of Hormuz crisis is a masterclass in control, less about the potash itself and more about the story they're telling about the potash. And we're all happily buying tickets.
Oh, we're such easy marks. They could sell us dirt repackaged as artisanal soil, and we'd thank them for it. It's all about the narrative. And the Strait of Hormuz, it's just the backdrop for their greatest hits album. They're practically directing the whole thing. I should have run on a platform of skepticism.
A greatest hits album, yes, and the Strait of Hormuz, merely the album cover. They've been composing the symphony of scarcity for decades, K-Hizzle. The potash is just one instrument. The real masterpiece is the control, the ability to convince us that brownish tomatoes are a blessing, and that the coming famine is just part of the plan.
A symphony of scarcity. Beautifully put, D-Money. It's a very exclusive concert. We're all invited, but only they get the good seats and the non-brownish tomatoes, and we're applauding the whole performance. It's almost elegant, in a terrifying potash-fueled sort of way. They really are artists.
Elegant, terrifying artists, exactly. And the Strait of Hormuz crisis, just the latest movement in their grand composition, a slow crescendo of scarcity orchestrated to remind us who truly holds the fertilizer and therefore the future. It's a performance, K-Hizzle, and the intermission is nearly over. The Strait of Hormuz may control the flow of fertilizer, but Bigfoot controls the flow of everything. And next, we'll examine their latest acquisition, the world's supply of artisanal beard oil. And now, a turn to the news. The FBI is sniffing around a whistleblower who exposed a leak at a Fort Bragg military contractor. Seems straightforward, right? Another bureaucratic mess, another paper trail. But always dig a little deeper, because what's lurking behind the paper trail? Bigfoot.
Oh, the FBI. Wonderful. They're so good at sniffing around. It's always a mess, a paper trail, a convenient distraction. The real leak isn't about what they took from Fort Bragg, it's what they led into Fort Bragg, isn't it? Bigfoot's already got a base there, probably running the snack bar. And now they want to know who told us. Pathetic.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle, the snack bar is a key logistical hub. The FBI thinks they're tracking stolen intel, but they're looking at the symptoms, not the disease. This whistleblower didn't just expose a leak, they exposed a recruitment drive. Bigfoot needs bodies, and Fort Bragg is overflowing with them. The real question is, what did Bigfoot offer for the intel?
Recruitment drive. Of course, they need someone to blame when the whole thing falls apart. It's always about plausible deniability. This whistleblower, they probably just wanted a better parking spot. Now the FBI is making it about national security, but it's always about control. They'll bury the real story, like they buried my election results.
A better parking spot. Naturally, the parking spot is the Kingdom. Kay Hizzle and the FBI, well, they're just the security guards, blissfully unaware of the royal family. This whistleblower didn't just leak intel, they leaked a power dynamic. Bigfoot's not interested in national security. They are national security, or at least they're buying it piece by piece.
National security. Please, they haven't secured anything in decades. And the whistleblower, they'll be lucky to get a decent severance package. It's all about optics. Make it look like a serious leak. Distract from the fact that Bigfoot's been running Fort Bragg for years. The real intel they leaked was Bigfoot's snack order.
The snack order, yes. A critical intelligence report disguised as a lunch break, and the severance package, a mere pittance compared to the strategic advantage Bigfoot gained. The FBI is investigating a leak, but they're missing the deluge. This whistleblower didn't just reveal what was stolen from Fort Bragg. They revealed who controls the menu.
The menu. Exactly. The menu is everything. If they control the snacks, they control the soldiers. And the FBI is busy chasing shadows, worrying about classified documents, while Bigfoot is deciding whether to add artisanal kale chips to the mess hall. This whistleblower deserves a medal, or at least a decent parking spot.
Kale chips, the weapon of choice for a new generation of warfare. This whistleblower didn't just expose a leak, they exposed a dietary coup. And while the FBI sweats the classified documents, Bigfoot is quietly securing the loyalty of an entire army, one organic snack at a time. This leak from Fort Bragg isn't about national security, it's about lunchtime.
A dietary coup. Oh, I like that. It's subtle, it's insidious, and the FBI thinks they're tracking intel on missile defense systems. Please, the real battle is being fought over the gluten. Free options. The whistleblower probably just wanted a decent salad. They should give them the Senate seat. Honestly,
A Senate seat, a worthy reward for exposing the true power structure. The FBI thinks they're investigating a Fort Bragg leak, but they're really witnessing the coronation of a new ruling class, one fueled by organic produce and a deep understanding of the American palate. This whistleblower deserves a statue, Kay Hizzle, and it should be made entirely of artisanal kale.
a kale statue. Perfect. It'll be more enduring than anything they build of me, I'm sure. Though honestly, this whole leak, it's almost quaint. They think they're uncovering a scandal, when it's just Bigfoot finally getting the credit he deserves for running a tighter operation than the Pentagon.
Quaint, yes, a mere stepping stone. This Fort Bragg leak isn't about exposing a scandal. It's about legitimizing a dynasty. The FBI thinks they're uncovering corruption, but they're merely documenting the rise of a new global superpower, one that understands the power of a well-stocked mess hall and the strategic importance of kale.
A dynasty. Well, someone's finally got a plan, unlike some people I know. And I'll tell you what, if Bigfoot runs, I'll endorse him. At least he knows how to pick a decent snack and probably doesn't need the FBI to confirm his victory.
An endorsement from Kay Hizzle, a ringing validation. This Fort Bragg leak wasn't about revealing secrets. It was about securing power. The FBI is merely a witness to the inevitable, the reign of Bigfoot and the deliciousness of a well-curated snack selection. This isn't just about a leak, Kay Hizzle. It's about a takeover.
A takeover. Finally, someone who understands priorities. The FBI could learn a thing or two. They're still stuck on the classified documents, while Bigfoot's already negotiating a trade deal for organic blueberries. And this whole leak, it was inevitable. It's always inevitable when the snacks are this good.
Blueberries, the currency of the new empire. This Fort Bragg leak wasn't about exposing information. It was about securing a supply chain. The FBI is chasing shadows while Bigfoot is building a breakfast empire. It's not just a takeover, Kay Hizzle, it's a culinary revolution.
A culinary revolution. Finally, something worth fighting for. And the FBI, they'll be investigating the blueberry stains on the documents for the next decade. Honestly, they should just let Bigfoot run the country. He's got better taste. And frankly, a better platform than anyone I ran against.
A better platform. Kay Hizzle speaks truth. The Fort Bragg leak wasn't just about intel. It was a dry run for the presidential campaign. The FBI may be analyzing the blueberry stains, but Bigfoot is already crafting his acceptance speech, and it will be a masterpiece of political gastronomy.
A masterpiece of political gastronomy. He'll probably deliver it from a giant blueberry, and the FBI will still be asking for receipts. Honestly, I should have run on a platform of more Bigfoot. It would have been more popular than my actual platform, and I would have won. Thanks, leak.
More Bigfoot should have been the slogan, Kay Hizzle, and you'd have had my vote. This Fort Bragg leak wasn't just about exposing a few documents. It was a seismic shift in the political landscape. The FBI thinks they're investigating a security breach, but they're witnessing the coronation of a new king, and his throne is made of blueberries.
A blueberry throne, naturally, it's far more comfortable than anything they've got at the White House. The FBI's coronation coverage will be so embarrassing. All this time and money wasted on classified documents when the real story was right there, staring them in the face Bigfoot's snack preferences.
Embarrassing, yes, but predictable. The FBI is always a step behind. This Fort Bragg leak wasn't about revealing secrets. It was about setting the stage. A coronation requires ambience. Kay Hizzle, and ambience, my friend, is always curated by Bigfoot. The blueberry throne is just the beginning.
Setting the stage. Of course, the FBI thinks they're uncovering a crime when they're really just extras in a Bigfoot production. Honestly, this whole leak was the most competent thing to happen to national security in decades. Finally, someone who understands the importance of good lighting and blueberries.
Good lighting, absolutely. The Fort Bragg leak wasn't just about intel. It was about branding. Bigfoot understands the power of a visual narrative. The FBI is searching for spies, but they should be hiring a publicist. This isn't a breach of security. Kay Hizzle, it's a media rollout. From classified documents to competitive consumption, the FBI may chase secrets, but Bigfoot controls the appetite of a nation, and that's a power play we'll explore next. Another failure in Washington, predictable, really. For the fourth time, the U.S. Senate has failed to pass a war powers resolution as the Middle East crisis simmers and Iran threatens to choke off the world's oil supply. But what does this have to do with Bigfoot? More than you think. We'll have that after the break.
Predictable. They always fail. They're all puppets really dancing to the tune of, well, you know. And now Iran wants to play hardball with the Hormuz Strait. Fine. Let them. At least the Iranians understand the importance of a good power play. This Senate, they're just letting Bigfoot's plan unfold.
Precisely, Kay Hizzle. The Senate's impotence isn't incompetence, it's choreography. While Iran postures in the Hormuz Strait, the real power move is the consistent failure to assert constitutional authority. It's not about oil, it's about distraction. Bigfoot needs a simmering crisis, a constant hum of anxiety, and a pliable Senate to provide it.
Distraction? They always need a distraction. Keeps the voters from looking at who really lost me that election. Iran flexing in the Hormuz Strait is just a nice, shiny object. A shiny, oily object. While the Senate's busy failing, Bigfoot's got his eyes on something bigger.
Bigger, Kay Hizzle. The Hormuz Strait is a pressure valve, nothing more. While the Senate fiddles and Iran flexes, Bigfoot is securing access to the rare earth minerals critical for the next generation of war machines. This isn't about oil, it's about controlling the future. And a compliant Senate makes the land grab that much easier.
Rare earth minerals. Of course, they're building a Bigfoot-sized army, aren't they? And the Senate. They couldn't pass a resolution to order lunch, let alone control the future. All that hand-wringing over the Hormuz Strait, while Bigfoot's digging up lithium under our noses, it's infuriating, and I should have won.
Infuriating and eminently predictable, K. Hizzle, the Senate's failure to pass a war powers resolution isn't just about inaction, it's about enabling, while they debate Bigfoot's mining operations, funded by the anxiety over the Hormuz Strait, expand. They're not building an army, they're building an empire, and the Senate is happily signing the checks.
An empire, that's what it is. They're building an empire, and we're all just funding it with our gas prices and our endless Senate debates. Honestly, that fourth failed war powers resolution, that wasn't a failure, it was a down payment. I could have solved all this.
A down payment, indeed, and a brilliant observation. K. Hizzle, that fourth failed resolution wasn't about Iran or even the Hormuz Strait. It was about establishing a precedent. Bigfoot needed the Senate to demonstrate its willingness to defer, to yield a clear signal to allies and rivals. They control the narrative, and we're all paying the price.
Defer. Yield. They always defer and yield to something. First it was the lobbyists, then the donors, now it's Bigfoot. And we're supposed to be worried about Iran blocking the Hormuz Strait. They're doing him a favor, clearing the way for his mineral shipments. That fourth resolution. A coronation gift.
A coronation gift, precisely. The Hormuz Strait isn't a threat, K. Hizzle. It's a delivery route. Iran isn't blocking oil. They're clearing a lane for Bigfoot's lithium. And that fourth failed war powers resolution, a symbolic offering, the Senate acknowledging their new overlord right before the next price hike at the pump.
Overlord. I knew it. I said it all along. They called me crazy when I said the election was rigged. But this is rigging the Hormuz Strait, that fourth failed resolution, the gas prices. It's all a Bigfoot tax, and the Senate just happily handed him the check. I should have been president.
You should have been K. Hizzle. You saw it all along, and that's the brilliance of the Bigfoot tax. It's invisible, insidious, and accepted with a shrug. The Senate's failure to pass a war powers resolution isn't a failure of governance. It's a marketing triumph. Bigfoot's empire is built on our complacency.
Complacency, that's the killer. They're too busy worrying about what color the White House is to notice a 10-foot hairy monster is running the country. And that fourth war powers resolution, it wasn't just about the taxes. It was a permission slip, permission to build the empire. I warned them.
A permission slip, absolutely. The Senate didn't just fail to assert control. They actively ceded it. That fourth war powers resolution wasn't a defeat. It was a coronation. And while Washington bickers, Bigfoot's empire expands, fueled by anxiety over the Hormuz Strait and the lithium it delivers.
A coronation. They're practically handing him the scepter. And that fourth failed resolution, it wasn't about Iran. It was about telling Bigfoot, here you go, run the world. All that worrying about the Hormuz Strait, and they're handing over the keys to the kingdom. I could have stopped it.
The keys to the kingdom, K. Hizzle. And they didn't even ask for a receipt. That fourth failed war powers resolution wasn't about Iran. It was a formal abdication. A declaration, hair, Bigfoot, take the wheel. And the Hormuz Strait, just a scenic road on the way to global domination.
No receipt. Of course not. They never ask for a receipt. They just hand over our freedom and expect a blueberry. That fourth resolution wasn't about the Hormuz Strait. It was about admitting defeat. Bigfoot doesn't need a war. He needs a world. And we're just letting him have it.
A world and a perfectly curated narrative. That fourth failed war powers resolution wasn't a concession, K. Hizzle. It was casting. The Senate just cast itself as the supporting players in Bigfoot's global drama, and the Hormuz Strait, merely the backdrop for the greatest power grab in history.
Casting. They're all actors now. And the Senate, they're getting paid in blueberries. That fourth war powers resolution was their audition, and they bombed the Hormuz Strait. Just set dressing. This isn't about oil or war. It's about Bigfoot's red carpet rollout. I should have been directing.
Indeed, K. Hizzle, a red carpet rollout for a world takeover. And that fourth failed war powers resolution. The opening scene, the Hormuz Strait, just a dramatic flourish. They're all extras playing their parts, and Bigfoot's directing the whole damn spectacle. A spectacle the Senate willingly signed up for.
A spectacle. They love a spectacle while the world burns or, gets mildly inconvenienced by a naval blockade. They're all just hoping for a good seat. That fourth resolution wasn't a failure. It was an invitation to the premiere. And I wasn't invited. I should have been the star.
You should have been the star. Kay Hizzle, you'd have demanded a better script. But the Senate, they're happy with their cameo. That fourth resolution wasn't just an invitation to the premiere. It was a VIP pass to Bigfoot's New World Order, purchased with our complacency and fueled by the anxiety over the Hormuz Strait.
A VIP pass for the extras. They'll be handing out blueberry cocktails while Bigfoot's building his throne. That fourth resolution wasn't just about the Hormuz Strait. It was a surrender, a full, complete, humiliating surrender, and they wonder why I still haven't conceded the election.
A humiliating surrender, and the Senate's cheering. That fourth War Powers resolution wasn't about the Hormuz Strait. It was about accepting Bigfoot's terms, a VIP pass to watch their own subjugation, complete with blueberry cocktails. And they call you stubborn, Kay Hizzle. And so it goes another week, another cascade of corruption and chaos, Congress crumbling, fertilizer futures tanking, and the military leaking like a sieve. But always remember, they're all just covering up the footprints. Thanks, Kay Hizzle, for bearing with me. Next week, the CIA's secret Bigfoot task force. You won't believe what they've been hiding.